Hello, arty peoples, and welcome to another episode of Jerry's Live. And as you can see,
chaos.
We have a friend today.
Hi.
Everybody, this is Ophelia Staton. My name is Emmy Klein, and I'm your host today. And this is my my chaos in our team building here.
Yes.
So
I'm the student.
Yes, I'm very excited today. We have a fun show planned for you. Now, before we jump into that, though, and what we're going to be working on, if you guys are interested in anything that we are going to be covering today or all the materials, make sure to go to the website, JerrysArtarama.com, and type in today's class code, which is JL348. So JL348, type that in the search bar. The teacher's cart should come up and show you everything that we're going to be covering, which is watercolors. Yay! So if you guys caught us a couple weeks ago for the first class we had, which was the beginner watercolor class with Ophelia.
That was a lot of information.
It was a lot of information. You can always go back and watch it. But today we are going to kind of pick up where we left off there and continue with our watercolor journey. It's okay. We're going to get there. It's all right.
Breathe.
It's just watercolor. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's just squishing paint around with water. That's the beauty of watercolor, is that it's just your paints, paper, a brush, and water. That's the glory of watercolor as a medium. So today we're going to kind of go into more intermediate kind of level things. We're going to use what we were practicing on those techniques to actually create some artwork today, which is going to be fun. I am very excited for this. We'll show you about that later. But first I want to jump into paints, because with our previous show we went over more student grade paints, and today I wanted to show you more professional level paints. So today we're going to be working with our Lucas. Also, before I jump into that, I also wanted to just show you guys
I tried my best.
Really adorable watercolor that Ophelia did.
I tried my best.
Everyone hit the thumbs up button for this, because she did so well. For somebody who doesn't know how to do watercolors and to come out of the beginner class,
It's still abstract-y-ish.
It's adorable.
I tried my best.
It is great. So everyone let her know that it's great. So I just wanted to show off her artwork because she did so well.
I tried.
I did ask you to practice the techniques and then use them in a final piece. So you did it. All right, so we're going to be using Lucas today.
Yes.
I got a couple options here. So if we go to that overhead camera, we can jump into, and actually I'm going to just one more time, just make sure that's on camera. Look at that really adorable, look at the brush control that you had with the water and getting those fine lines. I'm so impressed, so impressed. All right, we're going to put that off to the side.
This was try number 403, but there we are.
It doesn't matter if it's 403. That just means that you are getting better and better and better the more you practice. And then she's getting distracted. Okay, so we have a couple different types of paint on our table here, and I wanted to go over those. Now, just like with a student grade paint, you are going to have some that come in pans. There's also the whole pan, so it's like double this size. And then it also comes in tubes. Now, the tubes can come in various sizes as well. And just like with the student grade, this is wet straight out of the tube. This is already dry, but you can reactivate both with water, essentially. So this is going to be, the tube is a really wonderful way of getting a lot of paint, a lot of pigment really fast without having to like activate this. Now, the great thing I love about Lucas is that it activates so quickly. So
do we need this?
We can use that.
I'll try it on mine.
Yes.
We're going to do something else.
So what Ophelia is actually holding there is the Aqua Mist bottle, which is I put distilled water in here just so that it doesn't have any mold issues.
I gotcha.
But if you spritz it, it's just like a regular spritz bottle, but it actually has a very fine mist. So it also, no, we're gonna.
See, I was going to do that. Oh, it really is a fine
It is a fine mist, and it does coat the table with a little bit of water, but it actually also mists for quite a long time the more you pump it. So anybody has any kind of like arthritis or hand problems, it's easy to use, and it's a fast way to wet your entire palette. But these reactivate so fast that you could immediately go in with a brush and start working with these just quickly. So with that, though, you're also going to get, and we have our painter's color diary like we had before. It's actually the same one. So here are the paints that we used in our previous show, right? We had two sets. This is the Maurice. both of these. It's just tubes versus our pans. Now, here are the set of 24. This is the Lucas Aquarel 1862 set of 24 in the half pans. And you get all of these beautiful colors. Now, if you didn't have this side by side with this, you might not notice the difference right away, but you're going to get a lot more pigment and a higher quality pigment with a professional line paint.
Okay.
That is the biggest difference between student grade and your professional. So like this rose is beautiful, but like you pop over here and you're gonna get a stronger color that is gonna have that more consistent color laying down, and it's gonna usually be more vivid, and like just an overall better experience. Now, one is not, like I'm not gonna say no to anybody using these. You can get amazing artwork and create beautiful things with a student grade paint, but again, we're upping the ante this show. We're gonna continue on and get a little bit better supplies to where you can have a better experience. It's one of those things.
I get to play with big girl toys.
Yes, you do. All right, so these are the colors that we're working with in our palette right here. Yes, it does contain some actual cadmiums, so be aware that those have those heavy metal pigments. You don't want to drop any of the water that you're using here down your sink. You want to dispose of it properly. We have an entire show on that in case you guys are wondering on how to dispose of your chemicals and cadmium waters and things like that. But that's a different subject. But that is something that you don't want to get on your hands, and just be aware of. Just like you wouldn't eat your other art supplies, just don't eat your art supplies.
I'm not seeing.
So they're beautiful colors, and we're actually going to grab a couple of blocks here so that we can swatch. We're going to just grab one for right now.
Okay.
Keep it kind of right in the middle.
100% cotton.
Yes, this is a watercolor block, and we're going to go over more professional paper as well. This just happens to be the block. It is hot press, and we'll go over that in a minute. But since you are familiar with the Marie's paints that you've been using, and we also have a couple different varieties of brushes, I'll go over that as well. But quickly, before we change over from the paints, I just wanted to quickly show you kind of how quickly this activates and gives you a lot of color coming off of your half pan here. It reactivates really, really quickly, even in the dry form. And that's just one of those things with specifically the Lucas brand. Now, since you are familiar with the Marie's because you've been practicing so much, it flows a little bit differently, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Or I didn't know if it was the brush I'm using or the paint.
It's the paint. It's the paint with the paper, with the brush. It is a combination of the things all kind of coming together, giving you a little bit of a better experience.
Feels good. That was a...
It's one of those paints that you're going to have a better experience just because of how vibrant of a color you're going to be able to get, how easily it moves around, and how well it takes to the paper. And again, if you have student grade paint and that's all you can get, that's fine. No shade to that whatsoever. It is still wonderful for you guys to be able to create artwork. I don't want you guys to lose that insight. But having something that's a little bit higher quality is just going to be a lot easier for you to get those really, really, really vibrant colors that you're looking for.
Beautiful.
It's gorgeous colors. All right, so let's jump into the paper though.
Oh.
So you said 100% cotton,
Yes.
right? And that is absolutely what a lot of people are looking for with a, excuse me, a professional level paper. 100% cotton. Now, again, there are some papers out there that are like 25% cotton. Those are you're going to be a little less expensive because when you get 100% cotton paper, it's going to absorb your colors in a different way that allows your colors to not sink into the paper. So it's going to give your colors the appearance of being brighter and like more vibrant.
Okay.
So it's not going to just be dulled down by a paper that's just absorbing it and kind of making it look a little meh. So your paper really does make a difference. Now, it also does absorb really well and very quickly. Like it's still wet, but it's drying very fast. It's just one of those things where this is gonna soak it up like a sponge.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So when it comes to the surface though, when it comes to like a student grade, sometimes you will only find it just says watercolor paper. More professional lines, you're gonna find that you have options. So this is hot press. It is super smooth. The reason why is because they actually press it down in a manner that actually provides heat, and so it makes it really super smooth.
Okay.
And then they also have an option where it's the exact same paper, but this is cold press. So this is going to be a little bit more rough. Now, I'm going to actually do a couple swatches on
Can
this.
I try too?
Please do.
Why am I yelling? I got excited. That's all right. I
No,
literally got excited.
This is exactly why you're here.
Started.
So if you can see that it has more of that texture, and you can really notice it when you start dry brushing.
That's
you get
harder than it looks. Sorry, but it really it's yeah, okay.
It is harder than it looks. If you're practicing it, you can make sure that you control your brush and you can get it to do that. But it's going to have a slightly more bumpy texture, which is going to be really fun for a lot of colors blending together. And
What am I doing wrong, right? Do you see the bubbles?
that just might be one of those things where you're
Too aggressive?
a little bit.
I got excited.
You're
Sorry.
swooshing it a little too much. But that's the thing is like the bubbles, it's not a big deal. You just pop them.
I
Actually,
did it for texture.
there you go. Well, the only thing that you do have to notice is when your bubble does pop, it has a lot of pigment that kind of pulls to it. And so when it pops, it starts, I actually just splattered paint everywhere. Whoops.
And I dry brushed.
That's okay.
No, I didn't.
You did.
That's harder
That's
than
it
it's
is.
harder than you think. Sorry. Okay.
It is harder.
I can't tell if it's I guess it's the combination of all the brush, the paper, and the paint, because this is beautiful. I've never tried this.
It's an enjoyable process when you find the right combination. And it's one of those things where the brushes that we're also using, I'll get into, and why it's such a good experience. And we have two different types of brushes over here too, because I wanted to show you a natural and a synthetic version. But this paper really is going to, I did get blue literally all over me. Wow, sorry. Get that off me. But yeah, the paper really is going to give you a much better experience. So even if you are working with a student grade paint, if you do decide to splurge on one of the items, I would say the paper is probably the first thing to splurge on. It's going to make such a difference. It really is.
Okay.
It's just an enjoyable experience. Now, there are also options out there called rough press when it comes to watercolor paper. I don't have one up here. I actually forgot to grab one. But it's just going to be just like the cold press, just a little bit more texture. Oh. There is no wrong answer depending on, hot press, cold press, or rough press. It is personal preference and what you are looking for as an artist. If you like that texture kind of coming through with a dry brush, a rough press paper is fantastic. If you are doing illustrations where you want a very smooth transition and you want it to be able to be scanned in and reproduced as magazine illustration or things like that, a hot press might be a better option for you because maybe you're also incorporating pens.
That makes
It's one of those
sense.
things.
Yep. Okay.
So it's just a lovely experience. Yeah. So that is the differences between the surface texture.
Okay.
Now we also have a difference in thickness because, and here I'm gonna just move that down for a second. I have three options here. We have our cold press and hot press. These are single sheets, whereas you had the watercolor block where it's glued on all four sides, and so it's really stuck in there. These, and I gotta carefully remove. These are single sheets. So there's 10 sheets in each pack.
Okay.
But this is 140-pound paper. That is the thickness of the paper, right?
See.
Then we have an option of 300-pound.
Oh, that's...
He is thick. Now the 300-pound only comes in 5 sheets in a pack. The reason why is because it's just so much thicker. And the reason why we have the options here, I'm going to try and see if I can actually get it to appear on camera here. Hopefully you guys can see just the edges and how much of a difference one to the other is. And the reason why is because 140 pound is really great for anybody doing watercolor for any reason whatsoever, but it can buckle and move on you, so you'd want to tape this down. You still want to tape this down, but the 300 pound, but it has less likely chance, it's less likely to buckle on you because of that thickness.
Okay.
And it's going to be a little bit more enjoyable because, again, we are trying to control water, and so when your paper starts buckling, it becomes a frustrating experience. And so just to kind of alleviate that, you get a thicker paper. It's really going to help you kind of keep it flat and stuck down.
Is there a right side and a wrong side? Or?
That is a great question. I'm so glad you asked. That is a great question. So with specifically the New York Central watercolor paper, I can tell you that these are internally and externally sized. What that means, sizing in paper is like a coating that protects the paper and allows it to receive your paint.
I just put my smart on.
Think of it like a primer. It's like a primer for your paper, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay, yep.
Right? This is going to have that primer, that sizing, inside the paper when they're actually making the paper from pulp.
Yep.
And after they make it into actual paper, they size the outside again. So there is no wrong side on these. You can use front or back.
Okay, yep.
Now, that is not necessarily true for all brands of watercolor paper because it depends on the manufacturing process.
Gotcha.
This, I can tell you 100%, it's both, and you're fine.
Gotcha.
So there is no wrong or right side. It's whatever you use, really.
Gotcha. Okay, yep.
Great question. All right, so the reason why I do also really love loose sheets is because you want to grab the thing.
This
you can, if you really wanted to, you can run them through a printer. So I drew a sardine party. These are sardines. I drew them on a separate piece of paper, and then I scanned them in and I moved them around to where they were nice and spaced, and then I dropped the opacity of the lines to where when I printed them on a laser printer, not an inkjet, because inkjet can bleed. The laser printer will stay put. But that way, you get your drawing really lightly, and you are ready to watercolor.
Okay.
And the lines will be less prominent. Now, I actually have them a lot darker than I normally would if I were just to be doing this for me. I did lower the opacity to about 50% for this, just because I wanted it a little bit darker for the camera to pick it up. And so that, we're not going to be stressing our eyes out while we're doing this on camera.
Excellent.
But I have I printed it on cold press and hot press. So you can print on either one. And you just have to make sure that your printer is on the right setting to where you can run this. This is 140 pound. You could also run a 300 pound paper through a printer. You just got to make sure that it can handle that, because it does have to be adjusted and you get the right settings. I happen to use the one here at work, just in our marketing department. I love it. It's great. So yeah, you can also print on the loose pieces of paper. You can also draw on them. That's the beauty of it, is that you can take a pencil to any of these papers, sketch out an idea, and then immediately start painting.
Okay.
Right? So we're going to be painting some sardines. A sardine party. I'm very excited. So we're going to be using those techniques that we were working on into that. But we're not quite there yet because we still have more things to cover.
Okay.
Because I just went over these paints, right? These beautiful paints. The tubes are the exact same.
Okay.
As far as the quality of paint that you will find. It is literally the same paint. But these specifically, do you notice anything about these colors?
They're my favorite colors.
It's your favorite Ophelia palette.
Oh my gosh, these
what
are my
I did,
favorite.
and I actually just popped it into a little tin here. I love it. I actually panned them for you. This is a very well-loved palette that we've used here. So I have our opaque white. This is the Indian yellow. This right here, this little almost like peachy looking color, is not actually straight out of the tube. What I did is I took a Naples yellow reddish, which I also panned it in case you guys want to see. This is it straight out of the tube. What I did is I took that and I put it in a little palette and I mixed it with the opaque white and I made your custom color that looks like apricot.
Yep.
The color that you use all the time in acrylics. Then this is I believe this is the genuine rose. Yes, this is genuine rose. Then we have cadmium orange. This is our cadmium red deep. This is your turquoise.
Yes.
And the Payne's gray.
It's my favorite. It's right there.
That is
gosh.
the Ophelia palette. So if you wanted to use your Ophelia palette for the sardines today, you can.
Okay.
But I just wanted to show you that even though it comes in a
touch it
tube,
now.
you could use it straight into, like I grabbed a palette here, and I might actually use a couple of those and squeeze it out into the palette with a wet paint. And then if you wanted to, you could actually just close it up with the lid. This is also a really great mixing space.
Yes.
I love that. So that's one of those things that you could have it in there and then leave it there, and then once it dries, you can still reactivate it just like it's a panned set. Or you could even make your own pan set and then start replacing colors within your bigger set. It's all customizable, which is fun.
I'm still here. I'm still, sorry, I got lost.
And we're
There
going
it is.
to, yes, I wanted to show you guys the swatches that I did. So again, here's the difference between that Naples yellow reddish straight out of the tube and then mixing it with white. You still get that same color when you start breaking it down with water, but over here it's going to have that more opaque kind of quality, but then it's going to be immediately that color that you're looking for. So when you're making a custom palette for you specifically, you can customize everything, which is great.
I'm sorry, I just noticed. Yep. You write down your numbers.
Yes, the
all
code,
the time.
the pigment code. That's what, like Indian yellow, PY65. That's what that says. The reason why is because when I am looking for a color, I know that manufacturers can name them whatever they wanted. This could have been named yellow orange. It's just entirely up to the manufacturer. The pigment code will tell you what exactly that color is, because the pigment code is what is actually coming from the pigment itself.
I gotcha.
So when you're kind of crossing brands, like if you say you wanted to go to the Turner watercolors, if you're looking for that genuine rose, it might not be called genuine rose in another brand, but that PV19, that pigment, you're going to probably find over there, and it's going to be that similar match.
Gotcha.
That's why I always write down the code. Now, there are certain ones that always will be the exact same, like cadmium orange, PO20. That is the code for a cadmium orange, like a true cadmium orange. So that code you're going to always find in a cadmium orange. So there are some consistencies, but they can name it whatever they want. And I think there's actually one where I was talking about turquoise. Turquoise is one of those colors where, like, what is a turquoise? Like, this is turquoise, that's turquoise, but that's not the exact same.
Right.
It's slightly different. So there's a lot of options when it comes to names, and so
But
it's
that
hard
number
to
gets you close to what you're. Okay.
It'll get you in the ballpark.
I've never done that before.
Yeah.
I knew, but I'm not in the habit of writing it down. That's very good.
It's helpful when you're looking across brands. Like I jump from brand to brand all the time.
That makes
so
sense, though.
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna also move this out of the way because we have more swatches down here on the bottom. We have 5 colors here and a mystery box over here. So one thing to know about more professional line watercolors, and this is something that's actually come in like a popular kind of variety of paints recently, because granulation is a term that actually, if you can see this, I'll raise this up here. These right here are granulating colors. You see how they kind of sit in the texture and kind of almost look a little, like it looks bumpy and gritty. That is a way that the pigment is moving on the paper.
Okay.
Because it's going to be a heavier pigment and it's going to just want to sit down into the paper and kind of settle in while the water is still trying to move things around. So that's kind of what's happening here. And I grabbed the Schmincke Horadam Aquarelle. This is the Galaxy set, which is all 5 of these colors. And so actually I'm going to grab, it's very visible on cold press paper, because it has that texture and it really wants to sit in texture.
Okay.
You can still see it on a hot press paper. So we're gonna do, this is the cold press. We're gonna do a couple swatches here. Pick a color.
We get to do it?
Yeah.
Can we try the pink and the blue?
Are you sure?
No.
you look like you wanted to try them all. We can just pop them all out here.
This is going to start
so
some trouble.
It is. These are so pretty. Like, it's really hard to not want to get all of them, because these are part of Schmincke has a line of super granulators. And I know Daniel Smith has a lot of granulating colors. I'm just going to pop them all out. Just go ahead and swatch it.
And now here's the hard part.
Yeah.
When you're working with freshly squeezed paint, like, to not waste it by getting too much on your brush. Do you know what I mean?
You really don't need a whole lot, but that's why I'm going to also pop this over here to where you can just a little and then start moving it around. And that's the thing. That's what your mixing space is really important. Because it's going to allow you to understand, and this is part of practicing with your art supplies, getting those gradations. Here, swatch it though. It gets better when you swatch it. Now with the granulators, when it comes to getting it to do that granulation, water is key.
Okay, that's what.
Yeah, water is key, and because you're gonna need, the more water you put down, the more that the pigments are going to move around and kind of start getting that separation, and that's where you're going to really start seeing those.
I'm just kind of fangirling right here.
Put it
in the middle.
Put it in the middle. Make a bigger swatch.
I'm still fangirling because I just love this color that I mixed. Do you ever? It is just beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you make a record of how you make colors to get back to them ever?
Absolutely, and I do that in the Painter's Color Diary.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
That's a really great way of, if you find a color that you love so much and you realize, I didn't realize those two did that. Put it in your color diary. It's one of those things where it's a great way of notating what's going on, and as a reminder.
Yeah, because I've already forgotten what I've done. So.
Exactly, and that's okay because you can figure that out what you did. So you're using the Rhapsody Kolinsky Sable.
Okay.
So I'm gonna jump into brushes now.
Sorry.
No, please keep
This one's
swatching,
fun.
because this is the oohs and the ahs moments, because we get to play around with these. You are using the Rhapsody. It's a really great brush, and there's a reason why it's a really great brush. You're using the Rhapsody Kolinsky Sable.
Okay.
It is a real Kolinsky Sable, which is not animal friendly. It's just one of those things where it's a beautiful brush, and it's just part of the art supplies that has been in practice for a very long time. I'm not saying it's bad or good or anything like that. I'm just saying that it is real hair.
And these are, when I think of real, it's
From an animal.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm just thinking it's like the cost. That's what's,
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. They are not
That's why I froze.
inexpensive brushes, but that's the thing, is that when you are looking for a brush, especially with watercolors, it's one of those things where, like, you can buy a really inexpensive brush and you're gonna have to replace it eventually.
I see.
Whereas, like, if you're, really heavy-handed and you beat your brushes up, yes, I would not suggest you get a really fancy brush, because if you're scrubbing, that's going to destroy your brushes, and, like, you don't want to have to keep replacing a really expensive brush. But if you are going to try and, exactly, if you're having a really wonderful experience with the brush, it makes all of the difference. Like, if you are enjoying the painting process, please get the things that make you enjoy, and if it's going to make you paint more.
This is
key.
true. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yep, this is true.
And then I also have the Oasis brushes as on our table as well. I actually got Mott's favorites because I wanted to just throw back to Mott. Miss you so much. Yes, but these are the Mott's favorites. Now this is a synthetic version of a watercolor brush. Now this is actually like technology meets a paintbrush.
Okay.
It's going to have a lot of water retention. But again, it's just a different type of brush feel. These are very, very soft, which you were telling me when you were here earlier that you actually did not enjoy a softer brush. And that's okay.
Yeah, I did not know until you try it.
Yes.
That was your point.
But that's the thing, is that I love a soft brush. I am here for it. It is my personal favorite. but I'm a different artist than you are.
And
that's why to know you yourself as an artist and what's going to work for you is not always going to be the same for the next person. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a different type of artist and a different type of person, and it's all personal preference.
I dry brush again. I promise you don't. Okay.
It's so good. Yeah. So the Oasis is going to retain a whole lot of water, but it is going to have that synthetic hair. So it actually, as far as a synthetic hair brush is concerned, it actually really holds on to a lot of water. It is such a wonderful brush, but it's a different type. But the Kolinsky sable is a real hair, and that's going to also hold on to a whole lot of water. And it is actually quite soft, but it's going to have a lot of flow to it that is an enjoyable brush.
Okay.
Yeah. That, again, it's just a different type of thing. This has a snap back to it. That one is going to kind of retain those shapes. It's just a different feel. Now, do we have a question?
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Go for it.
So, Ugly Stepsister was curious about...
Love that name.
When you mix opaque white watercolor with your other colors, does it make the paint look cloudy?
Oh.
It just gives it more of an opacity. Now, before I panned those colors, I made sure to really thoroughly mix them. I didn't want those two colors to be swirled together, which you could do if you wanted to. We were actually talking about this earlier. I have done a panned watercolor where I had half of it be one color and half of it be another color, and I didn't mix it at all. But then when I go to like dip my brush into the pan, it just activates both and mixes it for me. But it is not going to give me a consistent solid color. It's just one of those things where nothing's a really wrong answer, but I did want to make sure that I thoroughly mixed those because I wanted that opacity, but it's not cloudy because it doesn't have like chunks of white in it, if that makes any sense.
Yep. I feel like it's one of those...
Get some water.
I'm just over here making a whole family.
I love it. I love it.
I wonder if mixing it separate, like right out of the gate, you get that color that you're after. Okay.
It's one of those things. That's why I was saying, like, if you get them in a tube, it's a great brush, isn't it? It's the brush feel is really, it's soft, but it flows, and it's hard to explain.
I like this. I've never tried either one of these. I wonder if it's, I would just never even look at them.
That's why I forced you to do different art supplies.
And I do think it's fair when you say try. You won't know what you like or not like until you try them.
Yes.
Kind of like me just looking at a vegetable and going, yep, nope, I wouldn't like that. And I stick with that.
It is hard to know what you're going to like. Now we're going to switch over to the hot press paper real quick, just so you can get some of those granulators onto this.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about with the brushes is that like this one right here, see how it's real stiff on the bristles, like it's not bending at all until I like crack it, kind of a thing. That's starch. It is put onto your bristle, the brush bristles for transit specifically. So when it is being shipped, it is protecting your bristles. It's going to keep it in that shape. It's going to keep your brush being nice and pristine and like the shape that it needs to be before, instead of getting destroyed.
But what you just did would not damage it? Kind of how you said.
I mean, it might damage some of the, not really in the sense of like.
Okay. I didn't know if it's when you just soak it.
Nah. So what you want to do though before you ever use those brushes, though, you want to really rinse off that starch off of your brushes before you actually jump in.
Okay, yep.
So it's just one of those things just to be aware of. It should never be that stiff after you rinse it off. So it's just one of those things.
Did you notice I was hogging all of this
You are
for a minute?
hogging.
Sorry,
I love it. I've created a monster, guys.
Yeah.
I've created a monster.
I'm like, you just keep talking. I just keep swatching. This is beautiful. And...
Now this is the hot press paper, so even though this is hot pressed, you still get that granulation.
Which brush did you just use?
I used the, what is this?
The same brush?
French Quill, number 10. It's a lovely brush. I love how big it is, so if you're trying to get a big wash, bigger brushes, obviously.
I just stay in my little small space and look at what you're like.
Yeah. I like big swatches,
I'm about
and I
to go
cannot
big.
lie.
I know, right? I'm about to go real big. Okay.
But that's why I like the fact with Mott's Favorites, you get such a
This is
variety
beautiful.
within this set, is that you get a huge 3/4 inch flat brush. So if you are looking to do gigantic swatch, or
About
not
to try
swatches, washes.
Areas.
Yeah, you can cover a lot of area with that brush very easily. Use the right brush for what you're doing, because you don't want to try and cover the whole thing with something like this.
Makes sense.
This brush is going to frustrate you. But this is a really great brush for detail. This is the number 2 round. It also comes with a 1/4 inch oval wash, which is, again, just a different type of brush. It's going to have that flatness to it right here. It's going to be crimped so it's flat on the one side,
keep
but then it
looking up
has
there.
more of a point. So it's going to be just a different type of brush. And then we have, of course, a 12 round as well. So it's just, and then of course, yeah, the 10 French quill. So within this set alone, you're going to get a variety of brushes and just a different type of tool for the different type of marks that you want to make as an artist. Yeah. I think that's the 1/4 inch oval wash is really great for anybody who wants to get like flower petals. Like, I think that's a really fun brush to kind of allow you to get those like different shapes and things that you're looking for.
Excellent.
It is
Okay.
super fun.
Why am I?
I don't know.
Ooh. Okay. I thought I did not. I like.
She was trying her best not to like these brushes, and
They just
yeah.
look really soft, and I was like,
They do.
yeah.
And that's the thing, they are actually pretty soft.
Oh, but they are incredible.
So is it just the way that they
Everything just like
flow?
glides. It just.
Describe what you're liking.
I have no words. I have no. This is beautiful, though. Honest to
They're
goodness,
fun.
I thought I had a great time with last time and the materials, but this is luxe.
This is a step
This
up.
is-
This is like, it's taking your watercolor game from like beginner level to the next step when you start getting more
So I'm
serious.
next- I passed?
You are officially an intermediate watercolorist.
Confetti.
Where's the confetti cannons?
Confetti.
guys?
This is it. Just feels so good.
It is very enjoyable.
Okay, now I've been spoiled.
Okay,
Because this
so
you're gonna make me stop.
I'm gonna make you actually create a sardine party. No, you can still swatch a little bit, but like, you know, we need to take.
I'm a swatch queen. That's what I do with
We need to take it to the
watercolor.
next level, and we need to create artwork with them. Besides just swatching is super fun.
It is. I
Ask
think
Amanda.
that's why
Amanda's
we're the
our
same.
swatch queen.
Talked about that today.
We are the.
Yes.
I promise. That's
Swatch
my
queen.
favorite. That's the only thing I know what to do with it. So, I appreciate the lessons. So now
Okay.
we're doing.
We're
I'm gonna
doing.
move this.
We're gonna still use our watercolors.
can I close
Yes,
this
you
even
can
though it's
close
wet?
that. Yeah, it's fine. We're gonna just tuck these underneath. Now.
Oh wait. Do you need your?
No, you're fine.
paper? Okay.
Well, I guess, yeah, we'll grab this. So in case you guys wanted to know what a sardine really looks like, I did print off just a picture of sardines. But we're going to keep our swatches over here. I'm going to actually remove all of this off the table. Do you want to use cold press paper or hot press paper?
Well, this one I kind of dripped water on it, so I'm going to use this one
Okay, fine. I mean,
because
you
I
can
don't want to
use
give you a
both.
drippity.
I have my own.
Oh.
I have my own.
Okay, that's fair. I was literally over here trying to dry it off on my shirt. Okay.
All right, so
It
what we're
doesn't
gonna
matter.
do.
But I do like the hot pressed. What are that?
What are that? This is Gator board. It is a water resistant foam board that is really stiff. Like you want to try and bend that?
You would make me
Try and
choose
bend
violence.
it.
Nope, you're not bending
You're
that.
not bending it. It is a really solid board. So when you are doing watercolors, and clearly it's been well loved. When you're doing watercolors on a loose sheet like that, you want to tape it down. So, I'm going to, you're using cold
I don't
press
know
or
which
hot press?
one. I don't-
I think you're using cold press. I'm going to use hot press.
I want to use hot press.
Okay, then use hot press.
Will you use cold press?
Yes.
Or does it matter?
It doesn't matter.
Do we want to see? Okay, yep, I'm going to stick with this.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to tape it?
Yes. So, because we're going to keep well, I guess for me, I was going to keep the watercolor inside the lines. It doesn't matter where you tape it as long as you tape it down.
Here.
Yes, on the edges. Now, if you were to try and create a piece of artwork that goes all the way, you would want to make sure that you place the tape
I see.
carefully and maybe make sure that it's a nice straight line.
To create like a border.
Yeah, and then you can peel it off later once you're done. But with watercolors, when you're taping it to a board like this, you do want to really make sure that you tape the bejeebers out of it, all of the edges.
Okay.
And then when you're doing the watercolor, make sure that that tape stays down.
But if I'm not bringing water or watercolor over toward the tape, does it matter or not?
It doesn't matter,
Okay.
even if you were bringing watercolor all the way to the edge.
Okay. Yeah, that's
you
what I meant.
always want to apply the tape when your paper is dry,
Okay.
because otherwise the tape is not going to stick. Water and tape just, it doesn't really work very
That makes
well
sense.
as far as like, you missed an edge.
You would see. Yep. Mhm.
We're going to redo
Oh, that comes right off.
It
Okay,
does.
So see, I did something really incorrect with mine because okay, so. Yep.
No, actually grab that.
I don't
Did
know
it
what I
rip
think.
your paper?
It did. It like pulled up the paper with it, but it wasn't this.
Yes, so the tape that we're using is artist tape. It is pH neutral, so that there's no acidity in the adhesive that doesn't get into your paper, because acidity in paper will yellow it over time, which is never enjoyable. So it is pH neutral, but it is
But it came
also
right up.
really easy for you to remove. But when it comes to removing any kind of tape from watercolor, like the paper specifically, you want to get it like up on a corner and peel it slowly and almost at an angle away from the edge. So like I would do it like this and slowly peel it that way. If you notice that your paper is ripping any way, shape, or form, come from the other direction.
Okay.
Just try your best not to rip it. And if it is one of those things where you accidentally do rip it, it's on the edge. We can mat them. No one needs to know. We can hide it. It's fine.
This is good stuff. This is okay.
Okay, so I am going to tape mine down. You can start with which sardine that you want to paint. But the idea is that we are going to try and control, just like we did before, water within a shape. Because trying to control water as like swatches and things is difficult.
This just got really serious, and now
it is hard to control water in general. So when it comes to your practice that I gave you last week, where you were doing the gradients and the washes, I didn't give you any specific shape or any specific boundaries. Now we're going to try and use those techniques within boundaries and kind of try and control them within a shape.
so you've got to. Which one of these would I use?
You can use whichever one makes your heart sing. Now, because of the size of the fish, I probably wouldn't use this. This is a little big. This is also probably a little big. The number 10 French quill. For me, I might actually go with a size 8 sable. Like, this is actually quite large, but that pointy edge is going to give you a lot of control. You don't have to smash your whole brush down in order to apply watercolor. You can have a really light hand, and then the water and the paint and the paper will do the work for you. It's going to pull the water onto the paper and spread it around, but you're just trying to move it around the paper and direct the water, is essentially. We are water directors today.
I'm not listening.
Water directors. Repeat after me. Water directors.
Water directors.
Water directors.
Okay, got it.
All right, so a sardine in real life has a pretty light belly and usually has a fun little stripey down the middle.
Are we trying to match those colors, or
We
can
don't
we just
have to.
go? Okay.
I'm just informing you of this is what a sardine looks like. Whether or not you actually do a realistic sardine is up to you. You can create all kinds of fun sardines. Like I have on here, there is a Dapper Dean. That is a dapper Dean with a top hat and a monocle.
I just
absolutely
love this.
Also, if anybody's interested in doing their own sardine party out there, this is available for you guys to print off on your own and practice. It is on our Facebook, Jerry's Live Facebook group. If you are not part of the group, all you have to do is ask to join and make sure you answer that one security question. Otherwise, you don't get in. Okay. So you can get into that group. It is already posted there. You guys can download it, and then you can print it off on your own paper.
Oh, man, I love it. And can I put you on the spot for once? Wait,
absolutely.
Are you using... All right, this looks like it has the colors to get you covered, right?
Yeah.
Do you see how this looks like silver? Mm-hmm. And this looks white. Can you show me how to mix that? I'm guessing it's a gray.
So silver could be a really great. Let me actually grab our swatches here from our, not the Ophelia palette, although you could use your Ophelia palette. So this one has these colors, right? Does that look silver to you?
Yep, I was just thinking.
Payne's
so
gray.
Watered down or add more water to Payne's gray.
So that's why Payne's gray is, in and of itself, a really dark kind of blue-black kind of color. If you add enough water, it's going to just appear to be like a lighter blue, right?
Yes. The problem is, may I please get a piece of paper, because anybody else out there chicken to put your fresh water right onto this?
That is.
May I have a cheat sheet?
Yes, that is a really, really great idea. Here, because
I
got some down here.
Oh, thank you.
It doesn't matter which one you grab.
Okay.
Whichever one. They're all the same paper, so it's just it's going to tell you how dark your color is. So here's the other thing. Let's say I mix up my color and it's too dark, right? Mm-hmm. And I apply it.
She's going straight for the paper.
I apply it, and I think it's too dark, and I don't love that. If I take my brush while this is still wet, and I just rinsed off my brush, and I'm dabbing off a lot of the water.
And you're bringing it back to that gray.
I'm just lightening it by just running it over.
So,
that right there.
Ooh, this is hard to take this. This feels like a test.
But then remember how we can fluff out the edges?
Soften
the edges. Because that was wet on dry, right?
Right.
If I wanted to soften my edges, I just take, again, the clean, wet brush. It's not sopping wet. And just run it over that edge while this is still pretty wet. You see how it already started to dry over here, so it started giving me a hard edge.
I was like, oh wait, why are you getting bubbles? But that's in the drawing.
It's in the drawing, yeah. Give it a whirl. Give it a whirl.
I'm gonna give it a whirl over here on this because now I'm too afraid.
This is a printable.
I feel like I'm on Broadway.
Sardine, you have like 12 more to do.
I understand. Okay, we're gonna try it and see how.
Do it. Come on, Ophelia, jump in.
I know. But what if I have too much water?
That's okay.
What if?
We'll fix it.
Okay. Here we go.
This is the beauty of it.
And should I start with light?
It doesn't matter.
But I thought you said watercolor is light.
Watercolor is light to dark, but there is some wiggle room. Come on, just lay it in there. Everyone, come on with me. Ophelia, Ophelia.
This is. Look at me fold into pair.
It's perfect.
No, it's not.
It's perfect.
Okay, so here's a question. Do you see the tattoo? Should I leave anything not
That
painted?
is personal preference. Do you want to paint in the mom tattoo on its butt?
But can I not? Can I go back over it if I go over it?
100%.
I feel like you just make up the rules as we're going.
We kind of do. That is the beauty of art. We are making up our own rules. But here's the thing, is that whatever you do lay down,
okay,
it is going to be reactivated when you paint it in. So if I paint in the little heart for the mom tattoo on the sardines booty, I'm gonna say it's the sardines booty. It's really just the tail, but
oh, sorry, I got into it.
Yeah, we're leaning in here.
Is there anybody out? Oh man, see, I just drowned it. Here.
That's okay.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Use your paper towel to pick up water off of your brush.
But my paper towel's wet.
Can we get some more paper towels over here?
I just, do you see how you smooth, okay, so my next thing is, is there a time limit as to when I can stop smoothing? Because why does yours look smoother?
Because I grabbed mine really, really, really quickly.
Now I'm sweaty.
That's okay.
I don't, is there a time limit? Thank you. Is there a time limit for how much more I can drop paint on this?
Yes.
Like a wet and wet?
And I hate to say this, it's entirely going to depend on your studio. Because it's the evaporation rate of the water. That's what you're fighting is, again, we are controlling water. We are controlling water. It is difficult. You're going to fight the evaporation rate. You're going to fight where it wants to flow. You just need to kind of try and guide the water wherever you want it to go.
I just feel like yours is smoother.
That's okay. That's the beauty of it, is that that's just one layer. She getting sassy over here.
Yep. And did you notice that?
You on, Ophelia.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm not letting anybody. Yes, I am. I should have taken this home for my practice.
But
copied it like 900 more times.
That's the beauty. You can later. All right, so I'm going to grab a little bit of this weird green. What is this? Olive green.
Oh.
And I'm going to just also pop it in just on the top of that. Feels right. Where's the sardines? Oh, I'm going to also put it in the tail.
Can I ask a question?
Always.
Okay, so if you, mine is off to the side, but do you see how now it's random? I've got yellow, red, green. Is there a way to, some people do like lighter cools, more, or you just kind of do you?
I tend to make just a big mess of whatever it is that I'm working on at the time, and then I clean it up later.
Oh, okay. And I'm stalling.
You are. I can tell. That's okay though.
Oh wait, what did you just go on top?
Yeah.
Why is my brush like it's
too wet?
It's too wet. This is pressure.
The more frustrated Ophelia gets, the sassier she gets. I love it.
And now I'm all sweaty, and here we go. I can't even see. Right. It's I feel like my head's in the way. And then I would, for instance, come back over this and make it darker.
Yeah. The more layers you add, the darker it's going to get. I just added purple. But then, I mean, if you wanted to, you could also, again, I'm doing really light layers. Like, you see how much water I have mixed in here?
My brush doesn't work anymore.
If you're really hesitant with your watercolor, just use less color and more water. And you can always kind of pick it back up and just very lightly apply the color. Like, that was too much, right? If I find that it's too much, I move really fast to pick it back up.
Okay, I think I'm not moving fast enough because I'm scared. There, I admitted it. I'm scared.
That's okay.
I'm scared.
I'm here. I'm here for you.
I know, but this cannot be how you feel when we're doing abstracts. This can't. Because I'm sorry.
I have a really hard time getting nervous about a whole lot of things. I will admit that.
I get, like you said, it's just paper.
We're just squishing paper, and here's the thing. If I don't love this sardine, like I just added pink to mine, right? I'm gonna just fluff that out a little bit. There's a lot of pink.
Just fluffing it out a little bit and putting a dash.
Which means I'm just dabbing the bejeebers out of it, really.
You know what I just thought about? You go faster because you're confident.
I go faster.
This is unfair.
Because I've been doing this for a very long time. I know how to control my water. But that's why I'm forcing you to practice. Oh my gosh. Now, I added a little bit of pink in the little gill area.
Magenta.
Sure. Okay. And it's a little thin, but I'm going to also take a little bit of yellow ochre. Get caught up. Okay.
Where am I putting the pink? Oh, right here.
Right on the gill area. And it's wet, so it's going to start fluffing out.
Okay.
Right?
Fluffing.
Fluffing.
We're fluffing it out.
Fluffing it. I haven't let any of this dry.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm catching up.
Mm-hmm.
Don't look at that. I went pink out of the lines.
No, I like
okay,
it.
Okay, all right.
I like it. That's
and you
I didn't do pink in the lines. There's no lines there. Then I'm going to take a little bit of that yellow ochre.
Oh, okay.
And touch it kind of right in its little snoot. That's too much. Oh, see? If it was too much, I very quickly wipe it off on my brush and then pick it back up.
Mine it did not make that color.
It's your sardine.
Did it not make my color because I had that paint still wet and then they merged together?
That's probably a possibility. Mine might have dried a little bit more.
Can I do this added to it?
Absolutely. This is your sardine. We are just here to observe.
I've already forgotten what color I tried. Here we go.
I don't know either. I didn't look. And I'm going to add a little bit of that yellow ochre to the tail, too.
Oh my gosh, I've already gotten off topic. Sorry. I literally just grabbed more.
You're fine. Well, I'm going to say I need a little bit more of like a funny blue. So I'm going to do this granulating blue. So I like that.
I didn't put, you put yellow
bright granulating
ochre
blue
into
the tail and the little snoot. I'm going to say it's a snoot.
Snoot. I just noticed it's like, what do you call it? Like push-pull where you're putting it here and then putting it there. Oh, I like that.
And then I add that granulating blue. And I'm going to fluff out the edges because it's no longer wet. And if I actually do a little bit of dry brush in the areas that are dry, and then this is still kind of wet. So this is blending softer, and then it's a little bit dry brush over there. It'll kind of add to the texture of the fish scales. So, fish. Now, we didn't save any whites for like the eyes or anything like that, right?
So it's too late.
No, not at all. It's never too late. Now, this does come with a caveat. I'm going to use our very small Zero Rhapsody brush. You can use the opaque white watercolor to an extent. So I could, if I tried to, I could add in a little bit of like texture here just by kind of brushing that on here before you actually grab that. I'm going to hopefully see that. You're killing me. So you can see a little bit of the white where I just dabbed it into the middle of the fish. This is online. They can see it.
Valid. Just need some privacy. We're not feeling well over here. But I can do the eye again.
Please give the thumbs up for Ophelia doing great. Oh, you can have your paper back. Sorry.
We shall discuss this after class.
All right. But if I wanted to lighten up the eye, I could also use that opaque white.
Okay.
To just kind of color that back in. Now he's real excited to see you. The opaque white is quite opaque. Now that caveat that I just said this comes with. Mm-hmm. There's also another way of using a white, and I'll show you that in a second. If you are submitting to a watercolor show, they don't like it when you use an opaque white to put the whites of your paper back in. They want you to save the whites. So, that reminds me
Clearly I'm not there.
This. This is a nice trick of being able to save the whites of your paper without having to worry a ton about what it is that you're going over.
Okay.
This is masking fluid. So this is essentially liquid latex. I've already applied it to the top here. So I'm going to quickly just run over with a whole wash of this over the whole fish. Just so you can see, because I'm not super worried about it. I'm not really staying in the lines here. We're just gonna, a little boop for the tail, boop for the tail. Okay. You can see everywhere where I put the masking fluid.
I do.
That is going to act as a barrier between my paint and the paper. It will not paint.
In that spot. Okay.
In those spots. Wherever I lay this down.
Are you going to show me where to put it? I mean, how to put it on?
Yes.
Okay.
Because with that,
I would not use this
no,
fancy.
do not use your brushes. With the ones that I actually stuck into the teacher's cart, it comes with the jar of masking fluid, 10 disposable brushes, and a rubber cement pickup. Well, actually 2 rubber cement pickups. Comes with 2. And I'll get to this in a second. The reason why you don't want to use your fancy brushes is because this is liquid latex.
Oh,
you put your brushes in here, you're never getting this out of your bristles. Okay. There are some people who have struggled and somehow magically got a brush sort of back, but just never put any kind of a brush that you care about in here. Okay. That's why we have our disposable ones. It comes with 5 of the fine point. It's a number 4 round, and then it comes with 1/2 inch of the short flat brushes. These are the ones that you can use to apply this just like you would paint anything else, right? So like here, let me, sorry. It's cute, I love it. If I open this, it's fluid and it looks like water, right? Wherever you put this down, and you don't have to do a really thick layer, wherever you put that down is where it's going to resist your watercolor. So if I were to let that dry, it would do the exact same thing as this.
How do I know it's dry?
It will, so right now it's shiny.
I keep looking at the...
Once it's dry, it's going to be a little bit more flat matte. And it's going to be sticky because, again, it's liquid latex.
Okay.
But it's not going to, like, move or do anything on you.
And you for real just threw that away?
Yes, I just threw that away. Because that liquid latex is never going to come out of the brush.
Okay.
Now, if I wanted to use that brush over and over and over again, I would then try and use as much of that brush as I possibly could. Like if I wanted to get all my highlights for all of these, I would do all of that first, let it fully dry, and I would maybe give it like an hour to dry. The thicker you put it on, the longer it's going to take to dry, of course. Again, that also depends on the studio that you're in, on humidity levels, the temperature. The hotter and the less humid it is, the faster everything's going to dry, just the way that it naturally happens. Then once it is fully dry, you can just paint on top of it and not have to worry about trying to save your whites whatsoever. Now, the other reason why I did that dark wash here is because I wanted to let it kind of dry a little bit. I wanted to talk about lifting. So if I put down some water, once it's fully dry, let that sit for just a second. Let me actually grab a paper towel. Dry. Let it sit for a second. And then I can lift some of the paint off.
Forget it.
So this is how you kind of pull back some of those colors.
How do you kill a sardine?
It's a sardine party. Wrong vibes. So this is how you can kind of lift some of that color back off, right? So if you go too dark, you can kind of bring it back a little bit.
What I'm literally trying to do with my heart as I put the orange over all of it. So
now this is something you would want to do once everything's fully dry.
So I need to just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing that you can do to bring back your whites is use something that's called bleed proof white. This is a really lovely thing that a lot of calligraphers like to use this also on black paper, which is really fun. And this is a pretty thick white. I'm going to actually use the disposable brush for this.
Well, can I use...
You can...
or just not a... I don't want to call it fancy brush, but not a fancy brush, like a...
I would use a less fancy brush for this,
Okay,
but like, yeah, you could.
Okay.
And again, it is water-based,
But a
so like...
paintbrush.
Yeah, paintbrush. You can very easily... I'm going to actually just use the lid here. A little bit of water, and you can actually bring back like a pure white.
Oh, okay, may I try that?
Yes.
But I need a brush.
Use that.
Okay.
So this is going to be like a pure white. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Amanda, you can't really paint over top of this once it's dry.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think this is going to act as like a barrier
So
again.
this is the final...
Yeah, these would be like your final highlights. Now, that also reminds me of the rubber cement pickup with our liquid latex, because you don't want to leave the liquid latex over here too, but you don't want to remove it until your paper is fully dry.
Okay.
But once you do, you take your little rubber cement pickup and you just kind of touch it to those little dots of where you have that masking fluid, and it will pull it off for you without having to like struggle.
Oh.
See the little like, yeah. So this is a very easy way of pulling it up. Now, if you try and do that while your paper is wet, you're going to tear your paper up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that'll leave you a pure white highlight.
It's sticky.
Yeah, it's dry, but it's a little sticky.
Can I try to paint over it?
Yeah,
Or, okay.
absolutely.
Sweet. I'm so excited.
Yes. Now, I believe the last thing I have on my notes to make sure to tell you is that because I did print this off with the actual printer, you might not be printing things off when you go to watercolor. Let me actually use this piece of paper here. You might be using a pencil to sketch out what you're doing.
Okay.
I think this is low on lead. Here, let me grab a different pencil. Where did my pencil go? All right, so if, like, say, I do a drawing in pencil,
Okay.
and I go to watercolor over top of this pencil mark, I'm going to have a really hard time getting that pencil to ever come out even after my paper has dried. Watercolor tends to, like, lock it in place.
Okay.
So if you're going to do a drawing and you want your pencil marks to be really, really light, use a kneaded eraser to kind of just dab them up and make them really light, like that, where I kind of diminished it. I can still see it in real life. I mean, I don't know if the camera's really picking that up well, but it's a lot lighter, and I won't have as much of a frustration if I can see that as opposed to like full pencil marks.
Gotcha.
Right? You have a
Lighten
question?
my pencil marks.
Yes. If you're using a gator board and you didn't have tape, for example, could you just wet the board and place the paper on top?
I would fully soak my paper at that point, almost like you would if you're stretching paper. And there's an entire show on that if you guys want to. But yes, if you fully saturate, like, I mean, put the whole piece of paper in like a bin of water and fully saturate it. The reason why it will stick to the gator board, but you will start seeing as it dries, it's going to start to try and move on you. So you're not going to be able to get any kind of a control as far as like, that would, the only way you'd be able to really do any watercolor on that would be more abstract, because you're never going to be able to get hard lines or anything like that. Are you just
May I
fully
please
moved?
try the masking?
I was like, are
trying
you
to
losing
sneak
your
to it.
mind? What are you doing?
Yep. Can I use this again? Or
Oh, you can, yeah.
Okay.
I would make sure that you wash it off to get the bleed-proof white out of there. But yeah, absolutely. Now, do we have any more questions? Because I feel like we're definitely over time. I know this was a lot of information, and we have a lot more sardines to paint. But
Can I shake this or no?
You can.
Okay.
You don't need to, but make sure that lid is on. But yeah, you can. Now they're also the more you open that, you might get some like. I don't know how else to say this, like latex boogers on the rim that you can very easily just remove that with a
What am I
paper
doing?
towel. It looks
Oh,
like,
I see what
'cause
you mean.
It starts to dry on the edges of your jar. Just remove those because it's going to be a bit of a pain in the you know what. But I also am really sad that I didn't get to my clownfish down here. My clown dean. There's also a zombie and a ballerina.
This is just.
Ballerina.
We're back to the hard
We need
part
to-
now. This.
I just need it really quick.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Are we out of time for real?
We are out of time for real.
It's
I
all
know it. Time flies when you're having fun,
It is,
right?
or when you're, yes, this was fun, some of it.
Look at that.
When we were
Look at
swatch
that.
partying, then we had to get to like
Mm-hmm.
the serious. How do you take an exam on the first day of class? How? This felt like an exam.
This is the second day of class.
This is
Valid.
my ballerina dean.
I feel like
is
you're
now-
on her side, but clearly I didn't do so well.
Also,
oh
I
my
gave
gosh,
you
how did?
I gave you homework.
And I did the. Wow, I'm mocking the teacher. I'm sorry, but I did the homework.
Also, did anybody know that she was a teacher?
This is where I get it. My bad. Okay, the thing.
Your students are having an impact.
Literally,
Ugh.
I'm just trying. Like, I'm much better as a swatcher.
That's okay. This is all about practice. Now, if you are having a hard time getting like crisp edges and things like that, you could also go over the edge of your
Good idea.
watercolor with things like this. This is a waterproof technical pen, so it comes in all the different varieties of nibs, and you can get fine lines, thick lines, whatever it may be, and you can watercolor on top of this. So if you do your lines first and then watercolor on top, you can also do that. But if you're having a hard time getting those really sharp edges that you want, you can also go over it with pens.
Okay.
And then eventually, once my ballerina dries, I'm going to go over that little tiara with some gold ink. But do we have any last minute questions before we jump out of here? Because I know we are definitely over time, and I need to go home to get my dog, and she's going to kill me if I don't.
I will not be responsible for deaths. So here we
Nah,
go.
she's just gonna bite my ankles. It's fine. All right, so everybody, I really hope you guys enjoyed our show today. Thank you, Ophelia.
I did. Yay.
She did it. Everybody, again, give her a big thumbs up. She did so well. And of course, you get to take your sardine page home and continue practicing. It's just a little booger. It's fine. So if you guys out there are practicing again, you can get this little sardine party page on our Jerry's Life Facebook group. All you have to do is answer that one security question to get in. Yes.
Oh, I pinned it to the featured so it's easier to find.
Thank you.
Perfect. It's
'Cause I'll have
pinned
to
to
find
the
it.
top. Yes.
Okay.
And you can print it off as many times as you want and paint as
you
many
very much.
sardines. I'm personally thinking I'm going to make this into a sticker pack. I really need sardine stickers in my life.
This is. Thank you very much for sharing it because this is great. I've
It's
never
fun.
painted something before in lines and.
It's going to be so much fun. And also, you can still print it off and do other media. I would love to see it. Make sure you guys, if you do paint some sardines, please post it to our any social media
good
and tag us in the post with at JerrysArtarama. We'll find it that way, and I'll be able to see what you guys create. I love it so much when you guys participate. But that was the show of Continuing Watercolors. Again, if you guys do have any questions in the future, make sure you put them in the comments. We will always go back and double check them that way. And then, of course, make sure you join us next week. Michaela is going to be back on, and she's going to be doing some palette knife painting. So it's super fun. So we will see you guys then. Ready?
Let's do it.
Cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.